a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to All Four Bag episode 32. I am Chester430, and tonight I'm joined by Shad. Good evening, sir. We have a muted Shads. He'll be in a second.
Good evening.
Oh.
Sorry. As usual.
Yeah. Good evening, Shads, and it's a welcome back. He wasn't with us last week, but he's back now. Good evening, Hads.
Good evening, everyone.
Nice to see you, Hads. First, mate, how are you feeling?
All good, mate. All good. Antibiotics. All good.
Brilliant. Of course, this is the last show before Cardiff, so I'm sure everyone's excited for Cardiff next week. I'm certainly I am as well. So before we do get into the breakdown of what's on tonight's show, I believe Shad, you got a few things you want to sort of make a point of. So the floor is yours, my good sir.
Yeah, it's just a comment I put on Discord a couple of days ago about servers not being open. It wasn't having a go at anyone. It was just saying that I was just noticing that it didn't seem to be as much action as there normally is during the season. It wasn't anything, I wasn't having to go at any captains or any teams that don't open servers. I know a few people made a few comments like Paris, Steele, Shorads, Becky, I think Bobby. But no, it wasn't anything to do with me being peed off because there was no servers open. I just made a general comment that it doesn't seem to be many teams practicing as much unless they were like in private servers, which I don't think many people have done. I know the Discord, the servers were down, weren't they? The master server was down, so everyone had to post IPs to get in. But no, I just want to put it, get things straight. I wasn't having a go at anyone. It's just a general comment about people not practicing as much this year as they normally do. That's it.
Oh, well, get on you, Shads. Giving that out. But doing the old forum posts and all that like before. That's going back a few years when I was racing as well. Quite a few years ago. That we had to write your own server in your forum chat. Anyways, we're going to break down tonight's festivities. We're going to have a look at the BGP and SCS round, which took place at Buxton on Sunday. We also have the Knockout Cup first leg review of the Norse against Cowboys. Then, of course, Shad's Rider of the Week. And then the Week 11 previews will close out the show. So, without any further ado, we're going to bring on to the first match, and that was the BGP round at Buxton. And this one was very, very competitive from the top level riders as you expect. Stefan there qualifying on a 15-point max, dropping just 1 point, becoming the winner of round 2 at Buxton. Had you in this meeting, my good sir? Disappointing night for yourself. Only 3 points, but Buxton's not the easy track to go to, isn't it?
No, it's a load of pants, isn't it? to put it bluntly.
To put it mildly, indeed.
It's not the best. I mean, obviously, the better riders, as you can see there, well, the more, better, more experienced riders, obviously scoring more points. Just one of them. Struggling basically this season for some unbeknown reason, but Gate 4 was good to me. I got the 3 points from there. But there was some good racing actually. To say the track was a bit not naff, but didn't offer too many different lines. To be fair, but there was some good racing as well. So it's one of those. It's a bit of in between both. But in the end, obviously, you said there, Dan, Stefan again just dropping 1 point. Running away with, well, not running away with it, but 20 points. So the next one second in 15. So yeah, it's a tough one. I can't see. I know he's got to miss a round at some point, I think.
It is the next round. It is the next round he's missing.
So hopefully people can catch up and give him a bit of work to do. Not make it as easy as it has been. So.
Well, I said it wasn't all plain sailing for Steph. Of course, that 1 point he dropped was courtesy of Racer Ryan in the semi-finals, and of course, Racer Ryan actually got the track record as well. So it was a good night for Racer Ryan, but just missing out on the grand final, getting beaten by Stephen 101 into second place. Of course, 101 back on form. In fact, these big riders are always going to be on form. Several names were missing from this match. Of course, I think Craig was one of them.
No, it was just Craig, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just Craig. Yeah, and Powis as well. I think Powis wasn't in the event either.
Craig's missed both rounds, hasn't he?
Powis was in there. Yeah,
Craig
Powis
hasn't had a meeting yet.
Craig hasn't rode yet. Yeah, so I'm beating him.
You're beating him. I will say a disappointing run from Powell. Not the sort of scoreline we were expecting him to get. Only having one race win, but then 3 third places and a last. It's very rare you see that from Powell. Of course, he had
he's not scored double figures yet in either round, has he?
No, that is a concern. Hopefully, he picks up for the next round at Pillar.
He'll be fine, don't worry.
Yeah, Powers is Powers. I think the track time away from the Hyde Road Storm days, I think are kind of behind him at the moment because he's racing for the pies this year.
He misses riding with me. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. But Hads, out of those riders in that meeting, I know obviously yourself you didn't have a very shall we say decent run. Which rider surprised you in that meeting?
Surprised. I'll probably say Dret Locker, who came in for Craig. He made the semi-final. He mixed it up pretty well, scoring 11. But I'm not saying such a surprise, but obviously we see there, at Tank making the semi-final. That was his best score for a couple of years in the GPs. But you got the likes of Scotty B and Fakey. Fakey's made both finals and come last in both finals, but he's been pretty consistent. Scotty B's made the 2 semi-finals. So I mean, even some of the riders that were in form, I mean, didn't score that. Obviously, you mentioned Paris. Obviously, we got. I mean, JC only managed 3, DL 4. So it's a tough. Every single race is just tough. It's one of those. I mean, but I don't think we should be surprised if any of the top guys has off nights and scores a few less points than what we used to seeing them. Because anybody in that field, I think, can beat anybody.
Right, what you said about Scotty Hads. I mean, don't forget Scotty. I don't think he had a proper meeting for about 2 or 3 weeks before that either.
Yeah,
for at least a couple of weeks. So I mean,
he's mixing it very well. I think in the GPs.
I mean, he always performs well in these competitions. And I mean, look in the FCS last year, and he always seems to do well in individuals. And that's a pretty good score, I think, 11 points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even Capesy there. I mean, he hasn't rode again for a few weeks.
Another one.
6 points. 6 points is no disgrace in that field at all.
No. And for the team that's, I mean, bottom of the league, the joint bottom of the league, and confidence can't be, that high. Then to go out there, I mean, and a heat win for Capes as well.
Yeah.
So they'd be quite pleased.
Yeah,
look at the likes of JC only scoring 3 as well, and DLC only scoring 4. So each of them scored more points, so I think they'd be quite pleased with that. They shouldn't be too disappointed.
I say, Sis just put a message in the group chat. It says, "Can the pod have a chat about these fixtures and the breaks for teams is stupid and people losing interest?" I think that'll be a talk point at the end of the show, Sis. So do hang around for that because I mean, I do agree. There are so many breaks for league teams that the interest is starting to go, but we will get into that at the end of the show, I believe.
Well, it's the odd number. It's the odd number of teams in the league. So every week a team has to miss out. And also, if you're at the KR Cup early, that's another week you're missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we speak about that more at the end of the show, because I think that a lot of teams have mentioned before not been for 2 or 3 weeks, and DL said they're the Spartans 3 weeks. I mean, we've had the same at Pies, but Is it because it's all crammed into into such a short space of time? I had a quick look the other day, and the knockout cup was every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks last season. It's every 2 weeks, so you're riding, and if you've got a bye, then you're not riding for 3 weeks. So yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it's the same with like the Speedway of Nations. Like they have that 7-man team, and like you need that 8th man or that 8th team to make it even, so everyone gets the same amount of rides and the same amount of meetings. I mean, is it maybe suggesting if we get a number of and a more of amount of riders coming in that we have that 8th team, or if like the team is not competing, maybe have like a challenge fixture, or like really, I don't know how it's going to work out. We just need
A
like
couple
more
of teams,
numbers coming in.
teams have had them already behind closed doors, like
Yeah,
14 tournaments. And
we had 2 weeks off, and we had a challenge between ourselves,
stuff.
and then we had a 7v7.
Cowboys did as well.
7v7 and got back some old riders.
I think that's going to be the way forward, really, just to keep the. I know we're talking about the end of the show, but we're talking about it now, so we've sort of got ahead of ourselves here.
Theo Stores made a good point about maybe having the rounds of the Car Cup a bit further apart.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Definitely agree with that.
That's a good point.
Because they were longer last season than they are this season. It's every 2 weeks.
Before it was every 3 or 4. Be over. Car Cup's going to be over before we're halfway through the league season.
Yeah.
Because you could sort of string it out over the season and have the Car Cup final towards the end of the season. Like they're doing most other sports.
Yeah. Completely agree there, Shads. Completely agree.
Yeah, that's a good point, that deal. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, great one, DL. We will run the Swedish Championship on our week off, says Fakey in the chat. So as you know, the BGP was taking place at Buxton, and on the same night we had the SCS, and this one was actually won by Bewitcher, even though Cappy qualified top scorer in the qualifiers. But again, a great win there for Bewitcher. Shad, you were in this match, my good sir, and you scored the same points as Hadlington, 3 points.
I was in it for most of it. I think I bailed out for my last race. I was so peed off. I just switched the computer off and went and made myself a coffee and sulked in front of the telly. It was a dreadful night for myself. Credit to Bewitcher, who's my sort of pre-season favourite to win the championship. Much to his protestations, he wasn't very happy about me putting him as a favourite. He's at the top of the leaderboard as well. 2 good scores he's had. Good night for Mackinnon as well. Cappy, yeah, brilliant from Cappy. I didn't see the final. He was unlucky. I think he second place. I don't know how I watched the recordings. Toretto was most people's favourite to win the meeting. He had a bad final. I think maybe a poor gate choice, poor gate. I don't know. And gate 4 seems to be pretty favourable here. But Bewitcher managed to win it off gate 1. He must have been a terrific gate he had. But no, I just want to put it behind me now. I was doing too much rather to quit the series, but then I looked at the championship stands. I thought, well, I'm only 10 points away from 11th. Automatic for next year. But no, let's keep going. There's some pretty favourable tracks coming up. I think Peeler's probably going to suit me a lot more than Buxton. We'll see how we go. No, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep plodding on and see if I can make these points up, and hope some of the top people above me miss a few meetings.
Yeah, totally agree there, Shads. Of course, as I say, you scored the same points as Has did in the BGP. I'm going to put you on the spot as well here, Shads. Out of the riders that you saw in the meeting, who surprised you the most?
Who surprised me the most? In the races I was in, Hutty looked pretty good in my race. Toretto looked terrific when I raced against him. I mean, I think I either led him for half a lap or level with him for half a lap, but then he just hit that line, and I wasn't hitting the line at all night. I just all over the place. Yeah, Caney was pretty good in the races I was in with him. I can't speak for the rest of them because I didn't see the racing. It wasn't streamed, so I can't really say. But the ones I rode against, I mean, Chivetto, and Big Slow Caney and Hutty looked pretty good. He had two good races to start with, and then tailed off towards the end. I think he explained why one of them, didn't he? We were chatting about it earlier, weren't we? He said he's watching the Olympics, and he had one eye on the Olympics as he was racing. I think that messed him up in one of his races. It's a bit silly, Hutty.
Yeah. Never take your eyes off the ball when you were leading the race, and you fell apart, man. Oh, jeez. But of course, the next round of the SCS takes place at Pila, so round 3, the Polish round of the championship. Still plenty of rounds still to go in both tournaments. Both tournaments are looking very, very close at the moment. Only 2 rounds in, so it's not set in stone as of yet as to who's going to be the pace setter in both. Of course, when Stefan misses his match or the next round, it's going to close right back up. So it's going to literally change the complexity of the tournament. So that was the BGP and SCS rounds, and of course on Wednesday we had I believe our first live stream of the season, and that was the Knockout Cup Leg 1 at Hackney, where the Hackney Norse took on the Poole Cowboys, the unbeaten team at home against unbeaten in the league, and this match went right down to a last heat decider. If you're on the stream, you'd have seen myself and Sky doing the comms on this one, and this served up quite the entertainment. To start with, it was looking like the Cowboys were going to pull away, but then a fight back of 3 consecutive 5-1s by Hackney from heats 9 to 11 pulled it back to only they put them 6 points in front, having been 31-29 down in heat 10. This match went right down to the wire. Steph there was leading the way up until his last, where he got beaten by Maxed ST, who top scored on 12+1. Like I said, Hackney had the Norse had Hackney down to a T because they were gated. They missed the gates in a couple of races, but then they knew the lines to go. I say Bobby started well. Lango had his Warriors guest hat on and scored decent from reserve there. But for me, I think the talking point of the meeting was heat 13, where it was Steam 101 and Rico up against Mackinnon and Tanny. And I got to say, Rico's last lap overtake on Mackinnon, I think, was the move of the match. Because even though the scoreline was so close and they had so much going on, it was absolutely fantastic. And it keeps it close for the second leg at Wimborne, which we'll hopefully have streamed again by Skyrider and myself.
If anyone's not seen that race, I'd download that race off the recordings and watch that last bend by Rico.
Yes,
He's ruthless on Tanny. Put him in the fence just before the line. It was a vintage Rico from the Rico I remember from the old Cowboys days.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great, and of course it puts it, 46-44. So this match is still up for grabs. But of course, Hackney, when they've been on form and at full strength, they have been dangerous. But I think this match is going to give them a bit more of a challenge, because of the level of what Poole are currently. They were unbeaten up until that point, where Norse beat them by 2 points. But it was looking like when it got to heat 13, 38-40 in favour of the Cowboys, and that 5-1 by Sletter and Dretlotka put them back in front. So, and then Max, with all the pressure of heat 15, sealed the points for Hackney. But it was an absolutely fantastic match, and well, if you want to see that match, that Heat 13, I would definitely recommend it because it was absolutely sensational. Last lap Rico doing the business, getting that 5-1 with 101 was absolutely superb.
But I'll tell you what I enjoy. I enjoy watching when in team meetings when Stefan rides and his team rides his partner home. He lets his partner go ahead. If his partner's in the lead, Stefan will sit there. He won't. A lot of people would go past and guarantee the win, but he just sits there. I think he did it a couple of times, and he's in his third and fourth rides. I think he was sort of sat there and blocked the rider behind him. And I mean, if he'd have gone into the lead and tried to get the 3 points, they wouldn't have got the 5-1. They might have, his partner might have slipped up and lost the position. But no, it's great. It's great to watch. I wish I could ride like that. That is fantastic to watch. If you ever watch Stefan riding individuals and team meetings, he rides totally differently.
Absolutely, 100% disagree.
He's not my rider of the week.
Oh no, that is not. That is not. Well, with that being said, we're now going to go across to Shads for his rider of the week. So Shads, the floor is yours, my good sir.
One of my easier ones, I think, this week, being there's only one team meeting. First of all, in the GP and the FCS, I think Scotty deserves a mention for his 11 points in the GP. And then the SCS, Mackinnon with his 14. Cappy was tremendous with his 17. Bewitcher with his 16. Toretto 16. But my rider of the week this week for Hackney North is Letter.
Hey, congrats,
terrific score from reserve. When you think about last season, I mean, what did he average? 3.42. I think he only had 6 wins all season. Last season, 34. In 55 rides, and he had 34 last places. I mean, this season he's only had 2 last places. That's the big difference. And I think he's averaging over 7 at the moment, which is double what he was averaging last season. So yeah, terrific meeting from Slater. But a poor first race. I mean, I think he went into the grass on the fourth bend, but after that he was pretty much faultless. I think he's helped North. Without him at reserve, I think the Cowboys would have been pretty much red hot favourites to win the cup this year. But I think it's still in the all up in the air. North's only lost by 4 there in the league, so they'll be quite confident going there. But no, Sletter's my rider of the week this week.
Yeah, congratulations there, Sletter. Another North rider of the week there. Fakey saying, glad we did not fire Sletter as planned. Oof, Fakey, we did, my man. Oh, blimey. Wow. You heard it here first, chaps. So, with all that being said, we've reached I've reached the end of our first... Not a chance, Hadlington. Not a chance. We're gonna move on to our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna have the previews of week 11 of the season 18 league. So grab yourself a cuppa, stretch your legs, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Have a wee.
No peeking. And just like that, we are back for All Four Back, the final part of tonight's show. And we have the league previews coming up for week 11. Crazy how we're at week 11 already. How this season completely flown by. So the first match we have on Sunday, the 11th of August, will be the Poole Cowboys up against the Newcastle Piemen. Now, this match obviously sees the Cowboys at home, so we're getting some early practice in for the second leg of the Knockout Cup against Hackney in a couple of weeks' time. Hads, you're in this match, of course, with the Piemen. Tough match to go to against the Cowboys. What are your thoughts going into this match?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. But we have got more points away than we have at home so far. But I'd say probably half the team have been putting in some good laps so far. So we'll be progressing session by session. Paris said, sorry, just reading Paris's comments in the chat there. But I do actually know who's not riding for the Cowboys. Believe it or not. So
Didn't mean the Piemen.
No, I do know who's not riding for the Cowboys because I know that Le Sorcier is on holiday.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so
yeah, of course.
So what we do play another game together, play a by mail game. So I know speaking to him through that he's not around for this one. I do kind of know he's not around for us as well, but it's gonna be tough. I mean, the top three are just so strong at home. I mean, you throw Super Dip and then Rico, have you seen with that manoeuvre he did in against the Norse, and then you got Lango as well, number 7, who shouldn't be at number 7 for me. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but there was one thing I was also gonna say, which I don't want to come across as, I don't know what the word is, an arsehole maybe. I don't know. Excuse my French. Obviously the times offered. I have spoke to. Obviously we've been told about our captain and that one of the times and days that we were offered wasn't a core time, so to speak, of 8, half 8 or 9. Our thinking about that, if you read the rule, was that you have to offer 2 times in that core slots, and then additionally you can add another one, but we're not too sure. I know Tanks dropped it in the committee chat, and it's not really too much of a problem, but I
think we've just lost Hads there. Hads, you still there, my good sir?
Well, I was just getting interested.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah. What a time for Hads to drop. Oh goodness. Hads, you still there, mate? Oh dear, we seem to have lost the Hads man.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Yes.
Quick disconnect and connect. Yeah, that was easy.
Well, we can still hear you, mate. So do carry on.
Yeah, I was just reading their chat there saying probably they offer 9.15 due to the availability issues. Thing is, if rules are rules, then you should be offering another time between 8, half 8 and 9. If that's a rule, okay, the 2 captains have agreed to that. I mean, but that's fair enough. I mean, they agree between themselves, but to me, we never rode in at that time. So basically, it's Sunday or nothing kind of thing. So And again, obviously, it's not an issue because we're not rolling at that time, but it's just one of those where I've asked to be checked in the chat because obviously there just seems to be continuous, not rule breaking as such, but rules are there for a reason, kind of thing, and it's one of those.
Yeah, it's interesting. How, of course, everyone has their own take on everything. I said we do have Tank with us, obviously being our producer. So Tank, if you're able to drop in and just give us a clarification as to what's been said by Hadlington.
Yeah, in terms of the core times and the non-core times, the way it was written, which may differ depending on how you read it, I guess, it was meant to be, obviously we got the core times, which is 8, half 8 and 9, but if you had to offer a non-core, you could also, in addition to them, offer a non-core time should the situation arise that you had to do that for any reason. It was to give a bit of flexibility in situations where you really needed it. And by large, meetings in past have obviously stuck to the core times. So I know there's been a bit of it this season, which, it is happening. But it's just there to just give the option for when it's really needed, mainly. So
Interesting there. Interesting there, Tank. Very well executed there.
You looking at Paul's last. Well, they've only had 2 league meetings at home, and they haven't really battered anyone really. I mean, they had a close meeting against Norse, won by 4 points. So they only beat the Warriors, the Panthers by 12. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to win this one. If Panthers are practicing, if firemen are practicing and get the line right, and they've got recordings to look at, so there's really no excuse why they shouldn't go there and put in a good show. They've got some quite experienced riders there, the top 3 especially, with top 4. You look at Hadlington as well and Tintin. I mean, he's probably done more laps there than most of them. Just getting the reserves to score a few points, especially with Lasorcio not being there. And Rico's not having the best of seasons. Well, he on his day, as you saw in the Car Cup final, when he's up for it. But no, I shouldn't be going there with being worried. Give it your best shot, practice hard, and see how it goes on the night.
Yeah. Interesting development there, Shaz, and well put in as well.
Don't give up. Don't go there. Don't go there and think you're going to be second best.
So that's the first match on the Sunday. Now we have a double match taking place on Tuesday the 13th. The first match we will see is the bottom of the table clash between the Plymouth Panthers and the Rye House Warriors. Of course, the Warriors defending champions this year, but finding it tough certainly around Rye House, at the bottom of the league here. Still waiting for their season to kick on. Of course, Tank's in as well as the team captain for that match there. Who do you bring for this one? Shad, your thoughts on Panthers against Warriors? Because obviously it's a bottom of the table clash. Both teams looking for their first win.
Yeah. This is going to be a very interesting meeting. I'd like to watch this one, but I don't think we're going to have a stream this week. But no, this could go either way. If the Warriors at full strength, with their top 6, I think they could edge this one. Depending on what sort of team they put out, just never know. You just never know with these 2 teams. I know they both had a little trouble with availability and stuff, and people working and away on holiday and things like that. But we'll see. it's going to be close whichever. I don't think anyone's going to. I think the league could swing either way during the meeting. It's not going to be. If no one's going to pull away. I've got a sneaky feeling Warriors might edge this one, maybe by a couple of points.
Ooh. But Hads, your thoughts on Panthers versus Warriors?
It's going to be close, I think. I think it's hard to call because, I mean, no disrespect to Panthers, they've not really got an out-and-out number one at the moment, whereas Warriors have in Craig. But a couple of those middle order orders for Panthers, I could probably outscore the Warriors. So, yeah, it's going to be a close one, I think. I mean, obviously, we've also got the battle of the brothers, Skyrider versus the Smiler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this will be an interesting watch. To be fair, as Shad said, it's going to be tough. I think it just depends how many laps the Warriors are actually putting into this, because so far this season, this is their one to get some points on the board in the league for me. So, if it was me, I'd be practicing hell for leather and trying to get the win here. But it's going to be
to finish bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they'll be putting it into this one, but I'm not sure. I mean, I think the bottom end of the Panthers are probably slightly stronger for me in Capesy, Chatting, and Craigie Hurl. But as I said, Warriors, I think, have got the better number one. So I don't think there'll be more than probably 4 to 6 points in it. But which way it's going to go, I'm not sure. To be fair,
It's getting to that point in most matches these days. You can't actually decide like who's going to win it, because all teams, when they're racing, are literally so evenly matched on paper. Like
Yeah.
it's difficult to pinpoint who's going to get the victory.
I think it's one of them. I think neither team will want to make a mistake as well early on. They just all want to ride solid, and if they're not winning, they'll probably just settle for the 3-3s and pack in and get the points. So
no last places.
Yeah, exactly that.
No last places. That's what you want. No last places. So of course that's the Panthers and the Warriors, and the final match we have on the same night of Tuesday the 13th of August will be the Birmingham Wolves taking on top of the table Hackney Norse, and of course Hackney have been, in terms of league fixtures, they have been absolutely dominant. They've been getting win after win and after win, and if they're at full strength, then Birmingham will need no disrespect to Birmingham, they will need an absolute miracle to stop Hackney running away with it. Shads, your thoughts on Birmingham versus Hackney? Because I think, looking at on paper, this is one that Birmingham can't afford to let slip.
Yeah, the Hackney Norse of last season probably would have got stuffed here, but as Matthew said last week when we spoke to him, they're practicing a lot more. I think they said they practice every night now, so they'll be properly dialed in. They'll know where to ride. And I think the Wolves are going to have to do a hell of a job on them to stop them winning this one. But I wouldn't rule it out. I would not rule it out. I'm not sure if Wolfie's back from holiday yet. JC is due a good meeting. Ads and Sizzler, we know what they can do. Depending on who rides at number 6, Hutty or Liam. I know Liam struggled a little bit, but Liam can still pick up points here and there. And also a different team away from home. They're still good, but they're not as dominant. Tough one to call. I'm gonna go for a sneaky home win.
Sneaky home win. Hads, your thoughts on Wolves against Hackney?
I don't think Shads is going to be far off. I just think Wolves have had a lot of time to to practice. I mean, I know a couple of them have been away and on holidays and stuff, but they'll want a big win this one to lay down a marker for the rest of the season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know Norse. Once sometimes they're not as dominant, obviously, away from home, but I know a couple of the away matches they've had riders missing, and Max hasn't rode in a few of them at number one. But as you say, they're practicing every day, so it's going to be a tough one. I think the Wolves. I think Wolves could nick it if they turn up. I think Wolves could actually nick this one.
Well, even though I said
they're either going to nick it by a couple of points or lose by 20. It's going to be one of those two.
yeah, Scissor just put a message in the chat. He's put, when we get a win, do we get an apology from Winchester? You will get a apology from me, Sis. That's a guarantee. But yeah, that's for me. I mean, Hackney have been dominant all season. But again, their away form against the stronger teams has been, dare we say, under par from what they've been doing recently. And I said, if Birmingham can be at full strength, then I wouldn't put it past them putting Hackney to the sword. But again, it's so undecided as to who's going to be getting the advantage in these matches, because of course all teams are so level this season.
We went there last season with Storm thinking we were going to win quite easily. We practiced near enough every day, and we were lost by 2 points.
Mm.
You just don't know. I mean, Wolves put on a show that night, and they beat us fair and square.
And what does it always say? This game is never scripted.
No.
Anything can happen. Yeah, definitely that. So in terms of my predictions, well, in terms of Rye against Panthers versus Warriors, I'd go for either a draw or a Warriors win, but not by much. Cowboys against who are they against again?
Behave.
Piemen,
yes. Pool versus Cowboys versus Piemen.
Glad you've done your research, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I can see a Cowboys home win, but again, not by much. Depends on what side Piemen, what side? Shut up. What team Piemen bring out? Maybe a 47-43 to Cowboys or reverse. I don't know, because it's anybody's game in this one. And the final match, Wolves versus Norse.
Go on, say it. Go on. You know you want to. Go on.
A full strength Hackney.
Flip that coin, Dan. Flip that coin.
A full strength Hackney, and they'll win by 10. A full strength Birmingham, who start well, I'd say they could win by 8.
What if they're both full strength?
45 or draw.
Quick thinking there, mate. Quick thinking.
45 or draw. Oh dear. Well, like I said, all teams this season are so level on paper. It's hard to pinpoint an exact, winner and all that. But as I said, it's still a long way to go in this season. Early days, anything can happen. Yes, you thought you did need a miracle, Sis. When I see the match on Tuesday, I will then make my predictions more certain. Anyways, final part of tonight's show, we have to bring in Tank once again. He wants to talk about the layout of the fixture list and to talk about the KO Cup layout. So, Tank, if you're there, my good sir, over to you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, obviously we know it's not ideal to be running a league during the summer months, and when it was the majority's view that they wanted to have a shorter off season, but that meant running it in the summer months. When we were planning the early stages of how we were going to lay it out, we took into consideration, obviously we had the Eurosports TV meetings, the BSM ones that would come out, which I know can be got around and watched other times, but sometimes people like to watch it obviously live. Then going to any other spear meetings live at tracks. Then you'd have football starting up, be it pre-season friendlies or qualifications for something else. And then obviously throwing in Cardiff for those that are going to it. Then away from like sport wise, it came down to like people going on holiday, which we know a fair few have had holidays, are currently having, and may still having ones coming up. And the reason the Knockout Cup is being done,
Bobby's got another 3 holidays to come, I think.
the reason it's being done so early on, we believed it was best to do it early on so that if it was done throughout the summer months, people could still enjoy the summer. And we've not really had the summer that we probably wanted in terms of the weather, but it was done just to give people the time to enjoy the summer months if they're doing anything in the in the outdoors, and they weren't obviously penalised in the league. That obviously, which we probably didn't foresee in one way, but then there's only so much we could have done with it at the same time, hindered some teams. Like, for example, the way things went about, Warriors rode week 1 and then we didn't ride for 3 weeks, and I know some teams are now having similar issues that we've had, so I sympathise with the teams that are going through that, and that's not ideal, but hopefully it'll be okay once the Knockout Cup is finished, because then we thought if we could string out the start of the season and then condense the second half of the season soon at the end of August to like it would be normally, it would give everyone the chance to enjoy the season and the summer. It was kind of seeing what would and wouldn't work. I get the general feeling that it's not worked how people would want it to, and they might need a rethink perhaps, but that's kind of why it's kind of been like it has. And we have tried to relax some of the rules here and there to accommodate, and that whilst it's not ideal, I know the rules are there to be followed. Like, I know Hats has said what he did earlier, and some have said it as well in other places. But yeah, we've relaxed it just to accommodate as much as we can, and that's why we allowed the Panthers and Wolves meeting to be pushed back a week to accommodate that, because you could have had the situation where Wolves were in a situation where they probably would have been without 3-4 riders potentially 1 week, and that could have been sticky. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's not one we've done lightly, but it was like the best of a bad situation, I guess you could say. But we shall see come like the end of the season. But it was just a matter of just filling out it at the beginning and just getting to past August, when obviously stuff is obviously quietening down and people will be more around. That was the hope. So hopefully that gives an idea of why the Knockout Cup was every other week in between the league ones. It was just so that the league meetings weren't compromised as much. So otherwise we would have done what we've done other seasons and strung it out like throughout the season. So hopefully that gives a bit of insight.
Interesting there, Tank. Now, there was a talk between the 3 of us, or so the 4 of us, in terms of potentially having a podcast on Wednesday, because of course all the fixtures will be done before next podcast, which would have been on Friday. So I don't know if you guys want to sort of maybe put a little podcast on Wednesday, because I'm certain I can be down for that, no problem. I don't know if you guys are going to be available for those ones. If you guys want to have one on Wednesday,
I have to check with my boss.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be about.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll be.
I mean, if the matches are over, I mean, I don't see no reason not to.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
feels
Boxing
weird.
next week.
a lot of people will be
just-
off on Friday morning, won't they, for Cardiff?
yeah, it just obviously shows that with all the all the fixtures are done, it makes sense to have the podcast literally soon after, rather than waiting a week and having more matches on top of that.
And it'd
So
be
we
recorded. It'd be recorded as well, I should think, and maybe put the recording out on the Friday so people can listen to it. Maybe when they're travelling down, if they can't
yes,
listen on the
definitely.
Wednesday.
Yes, that's definitely one for the one for the books. I'll put the podcast out next Saturday 8 p.m. when people come out of GP. Yeah. So if we do hear anything about Wednesday, chaps, we will let you know in due course. But with all that being said, I think it is time to wrap up proceedings, unless anyone else has a final thing they want to add. Normally they do, but
I was just gonna say, if anybody's going to the pairs meeting, I'm actually going to the pairs at Oxford and not Cardiff. So if anybody's down Oxford, I'll see you down there.
yeah, I will be at Cardiff on that Friday night, so I'll be walking around and going to the walkabout as always. Yeah, hopefully Saturday see most of you guys around Prince of Wales or the Gatekeeper for breakfast in the morning or around the city. Yeah, Cardiff, baby, it's only a few days away, and we're all getting excited. So for the ones that are going, hopefully see you guys there. But it just leaves me to say a very good night and it's great to have you back. A good night to Hads. Good night, sir.
Good night, all.
And it's a good night to Shad. Good night, sir.
Good night, everyone.
And we will see you all hopefully on. Well, keep an eye out on the Discord for a Wednesday announcement. If not, we'll see you all guys at Cardiff. I've been Chester 430. Take care, and we'll see you all guys soon. Laters.